So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're viewing from. This is Laura Thompson with TAN TV, the African American Network, where we have a local feel with a global reach, and you're tuned into the coffee break. I have the distinct privilege and honor and pleasure of reintroducing on TAN TV the mayor of Kirby, Mayor Janisha Grider. So, how you doing, Mayor?
Pretty good, pretty good. No complaints.
Well, that's good. That's good. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come out and talk to us today. Hadn't spoken with you, what, in a couple of years? Or a year and about a year and a half?
About a year and a half.
Yes. So, can you give us a little biographical information about you first before we start the interview? You know, who you are, what you do, why you do it, all that good stuff.
Yes, so I was on city council for about 2 years prior before deciding to run for mayor and becoming the mayor of the city. Other than that, personally, my career-wise, I'm a military instructor for the Army, and that's what I do career-wise. I'm originally actually from Alabama. I'm not born and raised in Texas. I was here for a while when my father was in the military at Fort Bliss for a while when I was young. But I've been here since about, 2006 in the Bexar County area, and I've lived in Kirby for about 12 years.
Okay. So how you like in Texas? I know you've been here for a little bit, but how do you like Texas, and how was it? How were you able to adapt to Texas?
I love Texas. Now, granted, I do love Alabama too. You know, you have to say I love home also. I'm still Roll Tide all the way, but I do love Texas. I like that it's the diversity here.
Okay.
Also, obviously, military USA. It's here. Every branch of service is here. I love that. Growing up with the military, then coming here, and especially as an adult, seeing the transition that the military has taken in this area. I love it because in my city we have quite a few, military that live in our city, and then of course the veterans are there also. But I love Texas. I love the weather because I'm not really a big fan of winter, so really? I love the hot weather.
Really hot.
I
really,
do.
Really.
Yes.
Well, that's new.
Right. Yes.
But I like it too, as long as I'm inside.
Right. The AC, right?
Right. So, were you in the military yourself, or you just worked for the Army?
Just work for the Army Civil Service. I've been civil service about 18 years now.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So why'd you decide to do that?
It just happened. To be honest, it just happened. I worked my way up, and I'm pretty sure I'll stick with that same branch of service in civil service until I retire, to be honest. I can't see myself now anywhere else.
Wow. So, it's funny you said that your Army job is your career. And when I think about the mayor's position, that's a full-time job too.
Yes.
So how are you able to balance those things?
It's time management.
Mm-hmm.
For myself, time management, my days and nights are long. Mm-hmm. There's something always going on because, as you know, the city and the city has to run no matter what time.
Right.
I can get a message at 1 a.m. or any time about something that's happened in the city. There's been times where, a lot of times too, I take off. So when I have to take off from my career, I use my personal leave actually for mayor functions.
Okay.
So that's what I do. I normally don't have vacations that are, I really want to have, I don't really get to go those places as I did before I became mayor, but that's okay though. I knew that when this is a responsibility, this is a serious position and the responsibility that I was taking on, but balancing, it's really just time management, the staff, they'll know that I'll be up, and the council members, I'll send an email at 2, 3 in the morning, and I'll know, like, what were you doing up? I just had a thought, and just it just happens.
I just had some work for y'all to do in the morning.
Right.
So how has it been? I know you've been the mayor for a year and a half, and you've also served in city government prior to that as a city council person. But kind of what are the different responsibilities that a mayor has that a council person might not have?
So the main responsibility is being the face of the city. Yes, all the council members, and I do have in my form of government, we do have. I have a vote also on the dais because some mayors don't. They don't have that vote, but I do. I'm able to vote on agenda items that come up. But one thing is when things happen, the mayor better know. That's what I always hear. Like if something happens, positive or negative, they're going to come to me and let me know. And that's why I'm big on communication as far as, hey, telling the staff, don't let me be the last one to know. Because there's been situations, before, as we have learning curves, especially when new leadership comes in, where something's happened and people are calling me like, hey, like, why is there helicopters like flying around? I'm like, I have no idea. So we've learned those learning curves now where it knows like I need to know everything that the city manager knows, So I'm in constant contact with my police chief, the fire chief, the public works, especially the main person, the city manager, the city secretary. We all make sure, we all work together and they keep me informed. So I would say that's a big difference is being the face. Like this morning, I went to JBSA Social. Last week, I went to several different events. Just making sure that being the face of Kirby, so they know that Kirby's here.
Right.
That we're open, we're here. So that's really the main part, and just managing different personalities on council. When you have different personalities, just being that leader, and I'm learning every day still, but just being that leader to listen to everybody, and then sometimes just have to tell the truth, right? Just the hard truth. They might not want to hear it, but I have to say it sometimes, like, that really doesn't make sense, or or that's a great idea, and we'll move forward with that, or I'll back you with that. So a lot of times I get calls from the boards and commissions. I get calls from them also. So it's a different dynamic. So when I took this position, that's why I didn't take it lightly, because I knew that taking this step was a huge responsibility. I knew that it was different, but you never know till you're really in there, right? So until when I really got in that seat, then I realized this is a totally different responsibility. Right.
So what's the population in Kirby?
So I say about 9,000. And to be honest, I believe it's a little bit more, but as last census, there was a lot of non-participation happened, so that's unfortunate, because that is money that we get per head, and I think a lot of people don't really understand that's money, federal money that comes down per head that we could use if you don't want to participate in the census. But I do believe that it's about a little bit more, but on the books we're about I would say 8,800, so I bump it up to 9,000, because I know there was some, we know in every city that there was a lot of people who did not participate.
Wow. So do you all have any, how do you, it's a small city, right?
Yes.
And so when you think about expanding, are you limited to like the geographic area or the size of the city as to how you can expand?
Yes, so we're landlocked. We're in the center. For those who might not be familiar with Kirby, we're smack dab in the center of San Antonio District 2.
Okay.
So it borders us all around on all sides. We do not have a lot of room to grow. We have some properties now, a couple of properties, not city-owned properties, but we have some vacant properties. And actually right now there's been talks on how to expand. And I have good news, because in this budget, we actually, because, we have to think forward down the line, 5, 10, 20 years. So this year in the budget, we're actually putting a comprehensive land use plan.
Okay.
So to map out the entire city of Kirby, because a lot of people don't know, we have 66 acres of parkland.
Really? Is that a lot?
Oh, that's a lot of land.
Wow.
That's a lot of land, and we can, we can do so much with that. And once we have map it out, and especially FM 78 is our main resource, because the people come from, we're off of 35 and between 10.
Okay. So
That's a perfect location, right? So people, they drive right by us and they go up to San Antonio or Converse, but we're going to change that because once we have the comprehensive land plan, then we are going to start mapping out and doing phases of building
okay.
little by little, so we're envisioning that, on some of the properties that we have, for example, having shops, mixed use shops at the bottom, apartments at the top, making our park a way to invite those young professionals and those young families, make them want to come to Kirby and stay. We're even talking about garden homes or tiny homes, just trying to think about in the future.
Oh, wow. So what does it entail to put a comprehensive land development plan together?
Money. So, so that's one big thing is money. And with the small city, we have to, utilize our resources wisely. We don't have the money of some of the surrounding suburban cities or San Antonio. So we just have to make sure that the planning phase also, besides we found the firm, make sure that the vision is, we're on track. And basically, we're going to get some citizen input also, just to see, because, a citizen might say, a majority might say, hey, you know what, we don't really want for you to create like let's say, I'm just throwing something out there, a man-made pond. They might not want that, for some reason. Or they might say, hey, well, I would prefer the apartment complex to be put over here, or, something like that. They might have a valid reason why, where we might not have been thinking of. So we want to make sure that the community is also involved. So we'll have like questionnaires and probably a couple of workshops, just so they get involved, because, hey, it's their money that's going into this to pay for this. So,
right.
And it's going to be a process.
Wow. So how far out is that?
So we're voting on the budget. The fiscal year is coming up. So it will be in this next fiscal year budget, October 1. So
Wow.
hopefully November, December, we can go ahead and get the firm start going and start for them to do their plans. So I'm really excited about that because this
Wow.
is something that our city needs. And this is the first step to get it going.
Wow. It doesn't sound like, and maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't sound like you all have had anything like that in Kirby in a while. As far as
Right. It's been a long time coming. One thing in the city we've been hearing even when I was on council, there's ideas that have came up, and it's like, well, no, now's not the time. Let's just wait. Let's just wait. And I even spoke to previous city managers in my city or council members and even mayors that said the same thing, that people would say, oh, let's just wait. Let's just wait.
Right.
Well, what are we waiting on? It was like 10, 20 years, 30 years, everybody's growing
right.
around us. No,
Right.
we're going to have to do some action. And granted, like I said, we don't have the money where we can just automatically, just start building every phase like right away. But we have to start from somewhere. We need to know, instead of just randomly, brainstorming, say, oh, okay, next month, let's start working on building this here. No, let's have a plan in place and be strategic about it. And so every single year, just try to chip away at the phases.
Wow. So do y'all bring in outside developers, or how do you?
So yeah,
That's what the plan is. That's what the comprehensive plan is about, or how are you going to put all those pieces together?
So now that's another piece of it, because, once you have the plan and the map out of the city of where, you might want the new, let's say city hall would be part of the plan, like to have a new city hall, and you want to tie it in where all of our city buildings are somewhere in the same area, vicinity, right? Once we map out everything, then of course you got to find out how to pay for it, right?
Right.
That's a big thing. So in the future, what we're going to look at is obviously developers, yes, of course, and we're open. We're open for business right now. We don't have to wait. But, we're even looking at possibly bonds, especially for like the parks to fix it up. Because one thing I think that, and I've said this even when I was a council member, our parks are so underutilized. Like it's, we've had this past summer, a community resource event. It was sponsored by Women's Unlimited and actually Bear County. And we all partnered together, had this resource event, and we had, I don't know, probably about 20 nonprofits, all Bear County departments. I mean, it was a lot out there of resources, right? But then also we had a bike event because May was bike month.
Okay.
So when we had that, we had a lot of people from the outside who's never been to Kirby come there.
Is that good?
And they were, yes, and that was amazing. And one thing they kept saying, they were like, I had no idea this park. They were like, your park is huge. Like, I mean, people were just looking around just like, wow, our pavilion. They were like, this is not the normal size pavilion, for a
nice
park.
Yeah.
Right. And so just people seeing stuff like that. So I can just imagine the potential once we actually have that land use plan and we actually have it mapped out where everything can go, like the bridge over the creek. Like I get so excited just thinking about the future,
Wow.
So I'm just excited about it.
So, and I know you might not know right now, but just in your head, how much would, in order to develop that type of plan, once it gets going, what do you envision the dollar amount might be to pay for all that stuff?
To be honest, and I don't want to quote any wrong number, because I don't want to hold me to it.
It's just an estimate.
Yeah, I know it's going to be millions of dollars. I mean, everything to build anything these days is millions of dollars just to build anything. So I know it's gonna be costly, but we have to think about the long run. I think that, and you hear people say, you get what you pay for, right? So, and I mean, it's true. We're going to get what we pay for. Eventually, we're going to have to, bite that bullet right now. But eventually, in 5, 6, 10 years after, we'll start seeing, the revenue coming in from that. And that's what I'm banking on. But we have to start from somewhere. And, one thing I say is, let's say the parks, not besides the parks, salaries, like staff salaries, right? Or the citizens, you want streets fixed, or, look, we all want that. Believe me, I'm a cyclist, and when I ride my bike and I hit those potholes or anything,
Oh, no,
or even
right.
my car. Matter of fact, my car from my city has something wrong at the bottom of it now because I hit something, So I 100% understand that. But guess what? It costs money to fix streets. Because also, a lot of people always think about the surface, right, of infrastructure. They think about, the paving. Nobody's thinking about the sewage and the pipes at the bottom. They're not, or the drainage.
Right.
That's a whole nother, engineer assessment plan right there. Is it the drainage? So, in order for us to get those things fixed, or in order for us to pay our staff, compatible rate, for everywhere around us, for Bear County, like to the different suburban cities, in order for us to do that, we have to get businesses in there. So the first step is the comprehensive land use plan, and then, start with the developing, and then we go from there. And then in the future, then we can see that, that sales tax money come on in.
Right.
And then that's when we can, that's when that money comes in that general fund. And that's when we can bump up and the people can get those raises. And then we could say, hey, instead of just doing one street this year, let's do 2. And instead of just patching, hey, let's do the sewage also, like that.
And so how do y'all market the city?
So that is another thing.
With flyers? No, I'm just kidding.
So that's a good point.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I know my responsibility as mayor is also to be the face and go out there. So that's why I try to make sure that I attend any event that I can. If I'm invited somewhere, I try to go.
Right.
Because I know marketing is key, right? Kirby, we don't have a bad reputation. I wouldn't say that, not at all. But I would say that, people have just kind of passed us by over the years. So I just want to make sure, like with marketing for myself and anywhere, that's why I throw a lot of events now.
Right.
Different events. I have Bear County come out all the time. We have a care program now that comes out and gives diapers every 7 days to the residents in City
Really?
Hall.
Wow, that's
Yes.
awesome.
I had just a resume workshop that we just hosted. Different things where I try to bring other people in. Records on the Run mobile unit.
Okay, with
Lucy
Lucy
Adame
Adame?
Clark.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Set up 2 dates in September and October for them to come out to City Hall. So, bring resources there. But also, that's bringing other people from the surrounding in so they can see Kirby. So when I do
Right.
those events and have this year we had our first Women History Month event.
Awesome.
So when we have that, that's bringing other resources in, partnering with people like organizations like Women's Unlimited, just partnering, doing this interview, right? You had to make sure people know we're here, we're
Right.
open, there's a face. I went somewhere actually this morning and a young lady actually said, I've never met anybody from Kirby in leadership.
Wow.
And now I'm not going to say who it was, but this is a person who should have. And so right there, that tells you, I was like, really? And she was like, yeah. She was like, I never have. And so I was like, well, now you have, and we'll continue
And
keeping up that
met
dialogue.
the main person,
Right.
the top leader.
Right, and we're
How
going to keep
about
that dialogue
Right.
going. Yes.
Wow, that's awesome.
Marketing. Branding. Yes.
So aside from you going out and talking to people, does the city have like a theme? Like San Antonio, they had Porto San Antonio or something, like Pure San Antonio, and every year they launch this campaign to kind of promote the city and to let people think of, what do you think of when you think of San Antonio? So do y'all have something like that?
We don't. We actually don't. Years ago, now this is years ago, we were known for Hobo Fest. It was a function called Hobo Fest.
Okay.
Yes, and I know
You
the
might not
name.
wanna-
Yes,
yeah.
we're not using that anymore. We're not going there anymore. But it was actually a pretty big event, and it's funny talking to different people. They were like, I used to go to a festival there every year, like they can remember because it goes way back. And they had that festival there, and that was one big. It was like a cook-off carnival. It was like a big 3-day event that they
Wow.
used to have. And this was years ago, and they had it for multiple years. But other than that, no. And that's
Like a Come to Kirby campaign or something?
so that when you talk about marketing and branding, so that's one thing that we have to get there. It's been so long since. Again, like I said, that young lady earlier today was talking to me. There's several people like that. I've been to several conferences, where there's some people that say, hey, what are y'all known for?
Right.
They'll just come out and say it, and I'm like, yeah. They're like, you need to be known for something. And I'm like, you're right. So we're definitely going to work on that too, our marketing and branding for sure.
Like Poteet is a small town, but they're known for their Strawberry Fest.
Right,
And
yes.
so everybody goes to the Strawberry Fest a certain time of year every
Yes.
year. So come on, Kirby.
I'm trying to
Just-
think of something. I know we don't want to do the Hobo Fest anymore. We don't want to
Right.
do that name, but maybe some way we can bring something back because the trains, are right. The reason why it was called that because of the train system that was right across from us. So hopefully, maybe we can tie that in some way. But no, that is definitely one thing we need to do.
Wow.
Now we do have a slogan. It's we're a small city with a big heart.
Oh,
Now that is
okay.
that's a
Okay.
slogan that we have. So.
That's a good one.
Yes.
That's a good one. It makes people think that you're a friendly, loving city.
Right. And now
And
that
you got
talking to you just made me think of an idea. It would be
Yeah.
nice. So we have entrances, Kirby signs, when you enter. But it would be nice to actually have that slogan saying "Welcome to Kirby" and having that actually on a sign. Thank you. So, yeah,
Had a heart. And
yes, exactly.
I got to be known for something.
Right.
Because even when you build, if people don't know
Right.
what Kirby is, they're going to say, okay, I went shopping, but I didn't know it was in Kirby.
Right. That's true.
Because when you go down FM 78, it switches cities.
Yes.
one block you're in Kirby, and the next block you're in San Antonio.
Right.
Then you're in Converse, and I'm
Converse.
like, where the heck am I?
Right, right.
Wow. So this has been a great, great, enlightening conversation. And you've tuned in to TAN TV, the African American Network, where we have a local feel with a global reach. And we're here with the phenomenal Mayor Janisha Grider. She's been the mayor for about a year and a half, and she's making great strides to change the face and the image and people's perception of Kirby. And so we appreciate you coming out and taking the time out of your busy schedule to chat with us for a little bit and give us an update on what's happening in Kirby.
Yes, thank you. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I do.
So is there anything else you would like to say about Kirby before we close this out?
I would just like to say, we're open for business. Number one, we're open for business. I would definitely check out our parks. I think that you would be surprised that it's beautiful. Like I said, we have 66 acres of parkland. It's a wonderful place, for parties or, anything. We have, dance, what do you call it? Tryouts and, different things they utilize. But, I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful park. And also, too, every year we have a huge 4th of July. I think a lot of people don't realize that unless you're kind of in that area.
Oh, okay.
But on that side of the town, Kirby is where it's at.
Wow.
We have a huge, this year we actually had a free carnival, like 100% free for the kids. It was 100% free carnival. It was sponsored by our crime control board, and we had 4 bands, we had a stage. I mean, it was, so every year we've been progressing, and also the numbers every year for our festival has been going up. So I would just look out and definitely look at the City of Kirby Facebook page and see what different events we have, because a lot of the events, free Zumba every Thursday. We have a lot of different things in the community, but one thing I tell everybody also too is that in the City of Kirby, it doesn't matter. Look, as soon as you step in the borders, you're family, right? That's how we are. We love you. We're family. We're there to protect. That's why I tell anybody, as soon as anybody steps in our borders, your safety is my priority.
Wow.
That's my police chief's priority. That's my city manager's priority. Anybody, your family, the children that goes. We have 2 schools there. A lot of people don't know we have a middle school and an elementary school.
Really?
Yes. So that's one thing is like, we are family-oriented town, but I just want to say, the Cell awesome. Kirby is like, that's one thing, safety. We're pretty safe compared to the other cities, to be honest. Come out to Kirby, just try our restaurants. We have some really, I know there's Mexican restaurants everywhere, but I'm telling you, Kirby has some of the best Mexican restaurants. So definitely just come on out. We have a lot to offer. And again, we're open for business. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to contact me. Everybody would say, like I said, I'm up 2, 3 in the morning. I'll email you anytime you want to talk to me, or anytime you have a question about, different properties available or anything, or the history of Kirby, just reach out to me.
Okay. And what's the slogan again?
Oh, yes. We're a small city with a big heart.
Right. Okay. So every time you go somewhere, when you introduce yourself, when you're on the platform, say we're a small city with a big heart.
Yes.
That's the start.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for
you.
coming out. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
And good luck on your comprehensive plan.
Yes. Thank you. That's